before I show you some footage of waterfall season along the north shore of Lake Superior, let's talk a little bit about Lake Superior just in case you didn't know. The north shore of Lake Superior starts in Duluth and then goes all the way up here and into Canada. And along this whole path and well into Canada, as far as I know, actually at least up to Thunder Bay, there's this ridge line that goes along the entire path, okay? And it's very rugged land up here. I mean, these hills or mountains or whatever you call it, they're not very high above sea level, but as far as like they do rise up pretty quickly from the surrounding land, like for instance, in Duluth, which is where I happen to live, you can see that this is Lake Avenue here, one of the main dividing line in Duluth, and you can see how steep this road is, and it just comes straight up from the lake here. And because of it, actually, you can have like big temperature differences between above the lake and below the lake, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, so this ridge line continues up and down the entire shoreline, and because of that, because it's made of granite and it's bedrock, that means that all the water that comes through here, all the different rivers, they were not able to carve out a smooth path like, let's say, they would someplace like the Mississippi River or someplace, you know, a nice meandering river that's flat and so forth. I mean, so instead they have to kind of crash their way through all this rock and so forth and through these narrow gorges. And so because of that, there's a lot of waterfalls all up and down the North Shore, even in Duluth. And how many waterfalls? I mean, that depends what your definition of waterfall is, because I mean, there's a lot of places where maybe somebody would argue it's not a waterfall, it's more like rapids, but I mean, I would say it's got to be at least like 20 or 30 or so, you know, legitimate waterfalls all up and down the North Shore. And most of the nice ones have a state park built around them, and so I visited 5 state parks on April 8th this year. And now it's a very special time of the year. It's called waterfall season around here, and the reason why, now the waterfalls are neat any time of year, but what happens is during waterfall season, all that snow that's been building up during the winter is all melted, or at least for the most part. There was still snow in some patches along, as you'll see in the videos, but anyway, so then all this snow that's melted is just flooding into all these different rivers all along here, and because of that, it creates a really spectacular waterfall scene up and down the North Shore. And so just real quickly, I went to Gooseberry Falls, which is along the Gooseberry River, which is the best known of the falls. Tettegouche State Park, which is the Baptism River goes through here, and it's a little harder to get to these falls. It's a little more of a hike, but it's still worth it. Then you got Caribou Falls, which is kind of a nice little wayside. Actually, it's not too far off the highway. And so is Cascade River State Park. It's not too far off the highway either. And then the last one I went to is Judge Magney State Park, which is the furthest up the shore that I went to, and it's actually one of the lesser known ones, but I was actually the most impressed by this one because I really like to walk on this big ridge going above this Brule River here, and then until you got to the couple of different waterfalls here, including what they call Devil's Kettle, which is a place where they say that they don't know, the water kind of disappears there, but they don't know where it goes. Apparently there must be some kind of underground passage that leads either further down the river or down to the lake. But anyway, here's the videos. Two-step falls. Caribou Falls. Dope. Judge Magney Park.